Chapter 267 Working hard for the sake of recovering. Despite the fact that he had risked everything to help Wang Donga obtain the earning heartbreaking grass, he valued his life like all human beings, particularly since he could only make Donga happy if he lived. A stable mental state allowed Huo Yuao to calm down. He examined his body once more, and quickly discovered a source of hope. That's right, at this moment, his body was completely chaotic. Even the passageways in his hands were all tangled up, and he could not move a single finger. However, there was still one place that remained intact in him. That was his brain. In other words, despite his poor physical state, his mental state was still perfectly intact. Furthermore, after he used the full moon piercing autumn dew, the quality of his mental state had changed too. His spirit eyes appeared to be evolving once more. All these were exceptional accomplishments. In other words, while Huo Yuao's cultivation may have retarded, and he did not dare to use his own soul power as much, his spirit eyes remained the same, and his spiritual sea had not changed. In fact, it could be said to have become stronger. His concrete and material realm was further stabilized by his love for Donga. This allowed his spirit to ascend to the next level, and he even possessed a unique move where his spiritual power merged with his soul power, the goddess of light. This was his advantage right now. His spiritual power had awakened within him, and was on the verge of recovery. It remained vibrant. Supported by his spiritual power, he used his spiritual detection and the purple demon eyes of his mustard seed domain to sense every change in his body. With his powerful spiritual power as his shield, he could try and heal himself. His spiritual power was another form of energy. It was possible for him to use his spiritual power to safeguard his passageways. After he cleared his mind, Huo Yuao did not panic. There was no point in panicking. He had to wait for his recovery to reach its peak before he could do anything. At the same time, as he woke up, the functions of his body started to recover too. Like this, the power of the life bulb could be felt once again. Its powerful life energy allowed him to continue possessing a powerful life energy. No matter how his recovery went, it would become easier. After Bei Bei and the others heard that Huo Yuao had woken up, they all came to visit him. Elder Sun came too. However, Elder Sun instructed that no one would be allowed to disturb Huo Yuao. Hence, everyone could only visit him once a week. His recovery would be completely managed by Wang Donga. Huo Yuao lay there for 3 days. In these 3 days, he did nothing. He quietly enjoyed Wang Donga's care. Indeed, it was a form of enjoyment. While his body could not move and his insides were all messed up, he could look at Wang Donga take care of him every day. This filled him with an unspeakable warmth, particularly at night, when Wang Donga, blushing, climbed into bed next to him to sleep wearing only her underwear. This made his spiritual power recover extremely quickly. Perhaps this was the power of love. Of course, this could also be due to his goddess of light soul spirit fusion skill. Huo Yuao did not tell Wang Donga the truth. He just said that he needed some time to recover. This was good too, because Wang Donga did not probe or ask him any more questions. All she did was care for him tirelessly. She did not want to put any pressure on him. To her, no matter what became of Huo Yuao in the future, no matter whether he could recover or not, she would never leave him. Dawn, 3 days later, he opened his eyes, and in the depths of his twin pupils, a purple light flashed. Everything around him became much clearer, and with each thought that passed through his mind, he felt as if the entire Sea God's island was within his mental grasp. It turned out that everything was not as bad as he had thought. When she felt the slight change in Huo Yuao, Wang Donga immediately roused herself. She sat up hurriedly and asked anxiously, "Yuao, are you fine?" Huo Yuao smiled at her and asked, "Do I look fine?" "Donga, close your eyes." "Hey." Wang Donga looked at him suspiciously. Under his insistence, she closed her eyes. Her long eyelashes lightly touched the bottoms of her eyes, making her irresistibly alluring. In the next instant, Wang Donga saw it too. To her shock, she realized that she was looking at the entire Sea God's island as if it were a 3D model. She could even see the colors of the island, as if she was a pair of eyes in the sky gazing down on the island. No, she was not just gazing down. She could see every small detail of the island. The only thing that she could not see clearly was the area around the Sea God's pavilion, which seemed to be protected by a layer of golden light. That had to be the power of the golden tree. Was this spiritual detection sharing? Yuao's spiritual detection sharing? Wang Donga opened her eyes suddenly. With wide eyes, she looked at Huo Yuao and said, her voice trembling, "Yuao, you." Huo Yuao looked at her and said, "I said that I'm fine. Your husband is like an indestructible cockroach. This is the result of 3 days of hard work. Afterward, everything will become better. Hey, I can still do this." Wang Donga watched as Huo Yuao's eyes turned bright purple. To others, this might have been slightly unsettling. However, that was not the case for Wang Donga. At that moment, there was only excitement and hope in her heart. She could finally see a hope of recovery for him. Elder Sun drank from a gourd in his room. Ever since he became the master of the Sea God's pavilion, he could not be as degenerate as before. After all, he represented the highest level of Shrek Academy. However, he still liked his life of holding a gourd in one hand and a chicken drumstick in the other. However, he could now only do it within the confines of his room. However, no matter how much fine wine he drank these past few days, his mood could not get better. Huo Yuao, what has happened to you? How can I answer to Elder Mu after I die? This child, really? Elder Sun could not voice his discontent in public. After all, he had done what he did to save the person he loved. He did not know if he would have the courage to do so himself. At this point, Elder Sun's dusky eyes narrowed. To him, it was as if the entire room had become brighter. "Who's there?" Elder Sun asked in a low voice. A powerful energy pulsed from his body. "Elder Sun, it's me," a clear voice replied. Instantly, Elder Sun felt a warm spirit appear in his room. It did not dare to approach him, but instead stopped at his door. Then, a thin layer of purple started to spread and turned into a smiling face, which looked at him. "Hey, this is..." Elder Sun looked at the smiling face in shock. "Yuao? How did you do this?" Of course, who could the face be other than Huo Yuao? Huo Yuao smiled slightly and said, "While my body is weak, I used some herbs that helped to increase my spiritual power when I was helping Donga find her yearning heartbreaking grass. They allowed my spiritual power to increase exponentially. It is like my spiritual eyes has undergone a second evolution. This has allowed my spiritual power to reach the concrete immaterial realm, and thus, I can communicate with you from afar. This is a manifestation of my spiritual power. While I'm not yet adept at wielding it, I'm sure time will better it." Elder Sun looked at him dumbfounded and asked, "How's your body?" "Your spiritual power can do this." Huo Yuao chortled and said, "Don't worry, I'll get better." Elder Sun chucked his gourd to the side and said, "I'll head over right now." As he said that, he flew out of the door. In the blink of an eye, he was outside Huo Yuao's room. When he looked at Elder Sun, who was charging toward his room with a face of shock, Huo Yuao smiled happily. His successful experimentation told him that his spiritual power had truly reached a new level. It was no longer purely spiritual like before. While it was still metaphysical and could not attack like his soul power, he could do many things that he could not before. For example, his spiritual detection could be used for communication like what he had just done with Elder Sun. At the same time, he felt that his spiritual detection's range was not bad. The Sea God's island was not too big, but its diameter was at least 1 kilometer. He could already see everything on the island, as well as parts of Sea God's lake. Through his spiritual detection sharing, he originally could only use it to instruct others. Now, he could connect directly with the spiritual power of another person. Then, he could communicate intentions with the other party. Not only did this fulfill his role as a control-type soul master, but he could also seek others' opinions. While his body could not move, he could easily talk to anyone on Sea God's island. Under his body's present condition, this was a piece of excellent news. With the recovery of his spiritual power, Huo Yuao became clearer about the condition of his body. He was not afraid that he would not recover. Since he was alive, there must be a reason for it. With spiritual power, while he could not use it to attack anything in the world around him, he could use it to fuse with his soul power inside him and achieve terrifying results. This was an extremely intricate scalpel. Huo Yuao understood that the only way to heal himself was through himself. Your spiritual power, Yuao? Elder looked at him with an indescribable expression in his eyes. As a Class 98 transcendent Douluo who was only a step away from becoming an ultimate Douluo, Elder could do everything that Hua Yua had just done. While he was not a spirit-type soul master, he could also force his spiritual power to take a concrete shape. However, he could not let the manifestation of his spiritual power leave his field of view. If he did, he would lose control over it. In terms of spiritual power, Hua Yua could not compare to Elder. However, in terms of control of his spiritual power, as well as the quality of his spiritual power, Hua Yua had already surpassed him. While he did not know how powerful Hua Yua's spiritual power would be if he used it for offense, he knew that Hua Yua was not permanently crippled. Furthermore, his spiritual power was still increasing. Hua Yua chortled and replied, "Metaphysical, it has more or less stabilized." Elder asked him immediately, "What about your spirit eyes? Have they improved, too?" Hua Yua nodded. Elder mumbled to himself, "Second awakening. This is the second awakening indeed. Your spiritual power could soon be the strongest on the entire continent. While some in the body sect have experienced a second awakening too, I can be sure that at your level, no one is more powerful than you. This is excellent. How are your wounds?" Hua Yua said, "My wounds are still problematic. However, I'm confident. For the academy, for the Tang Sect, for Dongo and I'll do my best to recover." Elder nodded and said seriously, "Don't rush it." Hua Yua chortled and said, "I won't. Don't worry. With Dongo accompanying me, I'm in no rush at all." Wang Dongo gripped his hand lightly and smiled. She wished to take care of him forever. After this incident, their mindset toward their relationship had experienced a huge change. Their understanding of love way surpassed that of their peers. Elder said, "How about this? You use your spiritual power to come up with a healing plan for yourself. Elder Zhuang and I will monitor you as you heal yourself. In case something happens, we can at least keep you alive. This will give you a free hand in your own recuperation." Okay, Hua Yua accepted the offer readily. With two transcendent Douluo helping his recovery, it would naturally be a lot safer. His condition was complex indeed. Elderson thought for a while, and then said, "Furthermore, don't tell anyone about the second evolution of your body soul. For now, don't even tell the other members of the Shrek 7 monsters. Is there a need for this secrecy?" Hua Yua asked. Elderson's mouth twitched as he said, "This is a secret weapon. Furthermore, after you have recovered, we need to talk about your punishment." Hua Yua was stunned. With a bitter expression, he said, "There's punishment." Elderson said angrily, "Of course. If everyone behaved as recklessly as you, without a care for the rules, how could we run the academy? I'm informing you right now that you have been expelled from the Sea Gods Pavilion. You can make up for your wrong with deeds of merit, and perhaps we'll consider reinstituting you as a member of the Sea Gods Pavilion. Furthermore, the rewards from your future research into spirits have been cancelled. If you die outside, how can you answer to Eldermu? You little bastard. You really piss me off." Elderson was angry indeed. How could he not be? Who exactly was Hua Yua? He was Eldermu's designated successor as the master of the Sea Gods Pavilion. He had also been trained under the Ultimate Soldier Plan. However, in the face of his emotions, he had forgotten all his obligations and duties. He had risked his life to head to the Setting Sun Forest without even informing the school. It was a miracle that he had returned alive. If Hua Yua had died outside, the impact on Shrek Academy would have been immeasurable. The blow would have been akin to the entire academy losing its hope for the future and direction. Hua Yua's face was filled with regret. He really had not been thinking straight at that point in time. Elder Sun, don't be angry. I admit that I was wrong. I'll accept whatever punishment the academy imposes on me. Just don't expel me. Elder Sun snorted coldly and said, "Expulsion? Don't tempt me. Rest well for now. After you come up with a recovery plan, inform me immediately. Elder Zhuang and I will help you." "Yes." Hua Yua replied respectfully. Elder Sun stomped out angrily. He only smiled slightly when he left the room. It was a weird smile as he mumbled to himself. A second awakening of the body soul and twin martial souls. Was there such a precedent on the continent? I don't think so. Records. Well done, little bastard. You almost made me die from anger. As she watched Elder Sun leave, Wang Dong's pretty eyes were apologetic. "It's all because of me. You owl." Hua Yua smiled and said, "What do you mean by that? It's my fault for not thinking it through. Actually, I enjoy my current life very much. I don't have to care about anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to cultivate. I can look at you every single day. This is a blissful life indeed. Come, my goddess of light, give me a kiss." Wang Dong could not stifle her laughter as she said, "You have interesting thoughts. Indeed. Lie there and don't move and come up with your recovery plan. When you're well, I'll let you kiss me." Hua Yuan's eyes lit up as he said, "As many times as I want." Wang Dong's face turned red, but when she saw his look of anticipation, she nodded and said, "Yes." Hua Yua gleefully exclaimed, "Great, then I shall start immediately. Don't worry, I'll be very, very careful. For my Donga, I'll get well as fast as I can. Hey, wait for me. Where should I kiss? Should I kiss your face, or should I kiss your— Go away?" Wang Donga blushed as she walked away. As he looked at how adorable she was, Hua Yua's face brimmed with joy. This was a blissful sentiment indeed. If not for the fact that he still had many things to do, it would be an awesome thing if he could just lie here and accompany Donga. After he finished with his stuff, he planned to travel the world with her. He wanted to see everything there was under the sky, eat all the tasty food there was, and have as many enjoyable experiences as possible. This was now his life's goal. With this excited mentality, Hua Yua started to examine his body once more. With his powerful spiritual energy, he first swept his body, and then examined it region by region. In his spiritual sea, he used his spiritual power to form a model of his body. In this model, he examined all the complicated passageways. For more serious areas, he represented them with deeper colors. For less serious areas, he used lighter colors. How complicated were the passageways of a human? In spite of Hua Yua's spiritual power, as well as his Sumero and mustard seed domain purple demon eyes, he still took 3 whole days to complete this task. Then, he shared the model of his body with Elder Sun and Elder Mu via spiritual sharing. When the two transcendent Douluo saw the complete map of Hua Yua's body formed using his metaphysical spiritual power, they could not help but exclaim in awe. Neither of them could control their spiritual power at Hua Yua's level. Then, they used a week's time to determine the condition of all of Hua Yua's passageways to come up with a recovery plan. They considered every tiny detail to great lengths so as to minimize errors. After 10 days of rest, Hua Yua's body had recovered quite a bit. The power of his life bulb was fully revealed. While his injuries were still there, his body brimmed with life. His self-recovery ability was back, and had started to absorb some of the extremely cold origin energy of heaven and earth. While its speed of absorption was slow, Hua Yua carefully observed that there was nothing he could not do. In 2 years, all of the origin energy of heaven and earth in his body, other than that trapped in his soul bones, would be completely absorbed. Then, it would be a lot easier to heal himself. However, Hua Yua could not afford any delays. There were only 20 more days until the tournament. In 20 days' time, he had to recover all his battling abilities. Without Tang Yuan and Bei, there would be no him. One could say that the Tang Sect had made him. This time, they were fighting for the Tang Sect. How could Hua Yua miss it? While he did not say it, he was determined to recover. Only then could he head to the Sun Moon Empire with everyone else. He was not only the center of his team because of his understanding of the Sun Moon Empire, but also their hope for winning. Furthermore, if he waited a year, all of the problematic passageways in his body would have fully set. If he wanted to make a change then, it would be much more difficult. After his recovery plan was finalized, Hua Yua started to act. His plan was simple. He would start small before moving on to the more severe injuries. He would be in charge of the initial stages of his recovery. After a careful analysis, Hua Yua, Elder Sun, and Elder Mu discovered that Hua Yua's body could be split into 3 different conditions. Some parts of his body were intact, some parts of it were slightly injured, and some parts of it were severely messed up and badly injured. Hence, Hua Yua had to first heal his lighter injuries before progressing to the more serious ones. His legs and head were perfect. These 3 parts of his body were completely uninjured. His hands were slightly injured, as were the passageways in his shoulders. The most problematic part of his body was his torso. That was where the problems lay. Hence, Hua Yua started with the recovery of his hands first. He distributed his soul power inside himself, concentrating it on his dantian. Hua Yua felt the extreme chill ice spring origin energy of heaven and earth brought by the Snow Empress. His Cultivation had been reduced to 3 rings, which meant that he could only use the energy of 3 rings in battle, but he was still a sulking. Huro Yuao first started to open up the meridians of his lower limbs. His powerful spiritual energy slowly entered his dantian and intermingled with his soul power. As his torso passageways were blocked, his soul power had not been able to undergo circular cultivation for a long time, causing them to appear sluggish. However, as Huro Yuao directed his cultivation, his foundation was strong, and under the guidance of his spiritual energy, it slowly came back to life. Huro Yuao's methodology was simple. First, he allowed his soul power to enter his legs, which helped to gradually open up the rigid passageways in his legs. Then, he made it do a simple circulation from his legs to his central meridians. This circulation allowed his soul power to come back to life. While this could not increase his level of cultivation and was not helpful to his absorption of the origin energy of heaven and earth, this allowed his soul power to circulate non-stop. Soon, his legs regained their feeling. After an entire day's worth of circulation, Huro Yuao could slowly and awkwardly raise his 2 legs. Wang Donga was so happy that she wept. At the very least, his legs could move. Every energy field in his lower limbs regained its feeling. This was only the first day of recovery, and he had already obtained such good results. This made Elder Sun, Elder Mu, and Wang Donga extremely happy. Through the circulation of his soul power, Huro Yuao slowly withdrew the soul power in his legs, and then combined them with the soul power in his meridians. This allowed him to control more than 2/3 of his soul power. Of course, he could not use his soul power straight away. His passageways were battered by both the extreme chill of the origin energy of heaven and earth and the extreme heat of the blazing sunspring. They were already weak and messed up. All Huro Yuao was trying to do was establish a foundation in his own body. He next started treatment of his arms. The passageways in his arms had been moderately injured due to the burns on his hands. Even after some self-recovery, they were still chaotic. In comparison, the soul power in his arms could not be compared to that of his dantian. It could not even compare to his legs. However, Huro Yuao had one advantage, which was the advantage of the soul bones in his arms. His left arm had the ice jade scorpion left arm bone, and his right arm had the dark gold and terraclaw bear's right palm bone. With these 2 soul bones, while the flesh and skin of his hands were severely injured, the bones in his hands were safe. If not, if his bones had melted, he would have become a true cripple. It was not easy to open his meridians and remodel them. Actually, it was a very painful thing to do. However, at this point, Huro Yuao was not fighting alone. They had a complete plan for what to do. Under Elder Zhuang's assistance, Huro Yuao forced open every single meridian. As blood spurted from his hands and countless wounds appeared, he was able to force them back into their original positions and fuse with his body once more. After this was done, Elder Zhuang used his powerful healing soul skills to help Huro Yuao's hands recover their vital energy. Then, the elder sent the blood back into his body. The pain Huro Yuao experienced throughout this process was nothing. In only a day's time, he was able to move his hands again, although, due to the interference from his torso's damaged nerves, his arms were unable to move for now. The start was good. However, what came next was more worrisome. According to the plan, the next step was also the most crucial step. They had to first expel the fire poison left in Huro Yuao's body by the blazing sunspring. Only then could he start the next step of his recovery. Otherwise, if the fire poison, which was close to his heart, suddenly kicked in, Huro Yuao would die. How would he take it out? They would open his chest to take the poison out. Yuao, are you ready? Elder Zhuang asked. It was morning, and Wang Donga helped Huro Yuao clean his body. He then lay supine on his bed. When she was washing him, Wang Donga's hands could not stop trembling. No matter what he said, she could not be mollified. The operation today was too important. If it succeeded, Huro Yuao would make a complete recovery. If it failed, I'm ready. Huro Yuao nodded at Elder Zhuang while smiling slightly at Elder Sun and Wang Donga. Elder Zhuang said, there can be no error. If there is, you will die. Huro Yuao chortled. There will be no error. I'm sturdy, and I won't die so easily. Elder Zhuang, Elder Sun, don't worry. Get ready to start. Snow Lady. At his command, a ray of orange light appeared from his forehead. Was that not the Snow Lady? The Snow Lady was different compared to before. Initially, she had resembled an infant, but now she had grown up visibly. She looked like a girl who was over 2 years old. The only thing that remained unchanged were her deep blue eyes. E-A-R. Dad, Dad. The Snow Lady cried out, shocking everyone. She could talk, in human speech. Huro Yuao said in surprise, Snow Lady, you can talk. Snow Lady pointed to Huro Yuao's chest and said seriously, Dad, pain. Huro Yuao smiled and shook his head and said, Daddy is not in pain. I'll get better soon. In a while, it'll all depend on you. The Snow Lady nodded her head vigorously and said, Dad, no pain, no fear. Huro Yuao chortled and said, get ready, I'll guide you. The Snow Lady opened her eyes wider and gently nodded her head. Huro Yuao's eyes turned purple. A layer of purplish gold light appeared, completely enveloping the Snow Lady. The fire poison from the blazing sunspring was an extreme form of flame. To heal it, one would need a very powerful form of ice to protect Huro Yuao's body. Furthermore, only a powerful type of ice could draw out the fire poison. Huro Yuao's soul power was mostly in his torso, and hence, he could not use it. The only way to do so was through the Snow Lady. The Snow Lady floated next to the bed and knelt down next to Huro Yuao. With her small hand, she slowly touched Huro Yuao's bare chest. One could see that the center of Huro Yuao's chest, particularly the area near his heart, was dark red. The air above this dark red patch of skin twisted and turned. The Snow Lady's left hand was pressed at the location between the dark red skin and Huro Yuao's heart. The moment her hand touched it, a faint mist appeared. The temperature of the air around it fluctuated quickly. Cold and heat interchanged with each other, and Huro Yuao's face turned red and white. Everyone held their breath. This moment was too important. Due to the extreme nature of the elements involved, no one could save Huro Yuao but himself. The Snow Lady slowly raised her right hand. A transparent, icy cold dagger formed in her hand. Its tip was razor sharp, and it was pointed straight at Huro Yuao's chest. Wang Donga turned her head away, not daring to look anymore. She clutched her fists tightly, and in her mind, all she could think about was how she was responsible for it. Yuao, you have to live. The Snow Lady did not make everyone wait long. Everything was calculated with precision by Huro Yuao. The dagger came down. Pooh. The dagger pierced into Huro Yuao's chest. Under the guidance of the ultimate ice, the fire poison in Huro Yuao's body spurted out immediately. A wound about the size of a fist burst open on Huro Yuao's chest. Blazing hot blood spurted out. Elder Sun and Elder Zhuang were prepared. With his right hand, Elder Sun was able to direct a ball of burning hot blood away from the Snow Lady and into a clear blue bottle. Elder Zhuang's hands trembled, and an emerald green halo surrounded Huro Yuao's body. An immensely powerful life energy started to rise, and the energy in Huro Yuao's body began to increase exponentially along with it. The Snow Lady's left hand, which was placed on Huro Yuao's chest, started to tremble violently. Most of the poison was extracted, but some of it became active and rushed toward his heart. The activation at this moment had been too intense. Even though Huro Yuao had been prepared, he still felt an intense heat rising in his heart. His biggest problem now was that his ultimate ice could not protect him. All he could do was rely on the Snow Lady's power. This was the most dangerous moment. Once the fire poison broke through her defenses, he was a goner. At this moment, a layer of emerald green light started to rise from Huro Yuao's body. The light was concentrated on a few ribs near Huro Yuao's heart. The intense ultimate ice energy was channeled outward in unison with the Snow Lady's power. Together, they expelled the fire poison from his body. After the incident in the setting sun forest, Huro Yuao had matured. He also did things more seriously. Like he had said, he would not allow an accident. This was because he still had a trump card, which was the million-year soul ring from the Sky Dream Iceworm. Under the Sky Dream Iceworm's guidance, the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's ultimate ice power was the last line of defense. It was able to protect his heart perfectly. At that moment, the extreme chill caused the circulation of blood in his heart to fall to 1/10 of its normal pace, turning Huro Yuao's face white. However, the fire poison had been expelled. While the fire poison had been expelled, it was now up to Elder Zhuang to control Huro Yuao's massive outflow of blood. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.